The following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
The Midsummer Classic, a pause in the season to evaluate, a time to celebrate the heroes of the game, and most importantly, a chance to pay tribute to the fans. The California League All-Stars head east to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina this year to take on the Carolina League's best. Last night, the All-Star Gala kicked things off at the House of Blues. Today, fans are able to meet their favorite players and watch a long ball exhibition during the Home Run Derby. And now it's the grand finale, the 2010 California and Carolina League All-Stars going head-to-head. The 2010 California Carolina League All-Star Game is presented by the Myrtle Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. We bid you welcome to BB&T Coastal Field, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. As for the 15th consecutive season, the California League All-Stars go head-to-head with their counterparts from the Carolina League. Hi, everybody. Bob Rathman, along with former minor league skipper Nick Belmonte, welcoming you to our coverage. A chance to see tomorrow's stars today.
Yeah, this is like American Idol, but with baseball players. And playing the part of Simon Cowell are those scouts behind the stands are looking at their prospects for possible call-ups or late-season trades.
Out in the California League, the San Jose Giants have dominated the past couple of years. And this young man heads 5 Giants in this All-Star game in his first professional season, living up to his name.
Brandon Belt, and Belt he does. 384 batting average, and this guy gets on base like nobody's business. 502 on-base percentage for the San Jose Giants, doing a great job. And you're from the South, you know this name. University of Georgia alum Rich Poitras doing a great job for High Desert and the Mariners organization. 12 home runs on the season.
The Myrtle Beach manager is Rocket Wheeler. He skippers the Carolina League All-Stars. We asked him last night to name one guy who jumped out at him. He did not flinch when he said it was second baseman Oscar Tejeda.
Oscar Tejeda is really coming on the Red Sox organization. They're very high on him. He's showing power now. And a lot of scouts say he has the same swing modeled after Alfonso Soriano, and they're expecting big things from him tonight and the rest of the season. And hey, if you're a Braves fan, stick around. This is the 19-year-old phenom. He's going to pitch third in tonight's game. Frank Wren and the Braves got this guy in the sweepstakes last year, a couple years ago. This is Julio Teheran, getting it up there 96, 97 miles an hour. He's phenomenal.
And an ERA under 1.2. When we come back, we'll meet this evening's starting lineups and get the game going from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, right after this. The singing of our national anthem here from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. As we get set for our All-Star game, let's meet the California League All-Star lineup.
Juan Perez, center fielder, Bronx, New York.
Alexa Marita, second baseman. I'm from Barcelona, Venezuela.
Brandon Belt, first base, Lufkin, Texas.
Rich Poitras, designated hitter, Grovetown, Georgia.
Jordan Pacheco, catcher from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
I'm Drew Cumberland. I play shortstop. I'm from Pace, Florida.
Jimmy Cesario, third base from New Orleans, Louisiana. Blake T. Cody, right field, Columbia, Missouri, from the U.
Tyson Auer, left field, hometown Orlando, Florida.
And here's the way the Carolina League will deploy itself defensively with Brandon Short, Justin Green, and Michael Burgess in the outfield. Will Middlebrooks at third base, Eduardo Escobar the shortstop. Oscar Tejeda is the second baseman. Eric Hosmer at first base. Ryan Lavarnway is the catcher. And on the mound for the Carolina League All-Stars, he's gone 7-2 so far this season, T.J. McFarland.
T.J. McFarland is a pitcher that's leading the league in ERA. Gets it up there 88, 91 miles an hour on his fastball. Has a sinker, a slider that he calls his out pitch, and a good changeup. Phenomenal year he's having so far, and that's a great guy to have rolling out there to start this All-Star game.
His ERA of 1.98 is the lowest in the Carolina League so far this season. The umpires are making their way in from right field. The clubhouse is beyond the right field fence here at BB&T Coastal Field, and the umps are making their walk in. There they come, and we'll be getting our ball game underway here in just a moment. But Nick, it doesn't matter. You've been in baseball your whole life. Yep. Played, managed in the minor leagues. It doesn't matter the level. When you have your name called to be an all-star, it's a big deal.
Well, it is a big deal because, you know, resume-wise, this will follow them the rest of their lives. And when you do get an all-star nod like this, again, it means something. You've accomplished something in the professional game. And this is an opportunity for these young men to be not only seen by the fans and the television viewers, but the scouts that are in attendance are looking at these players, A, to see how their own prospects are coming along, and B, when we talk about late season trades in the major leagues, there are guys like this in single A that are put and packaged into those trades, and they're being scouted heavily on a night like tonight.
Earlier this afternoon, the two squads conducted the home run derby contest. And this is the way it shaped out in the final round. Representing the California League, this is Rick Poitras, and he went deep 3 times. And it was a hot afternoon, to be sure. And from Winston-Salem, John Gilmore hit 4 out in the final round. That was the clincher right there, and his all-star teammates gave him the hero's welcome. And John Gilmore won the home run derby contest 4-3 in the final round. A part owner of the Myrtle Beach Pelicans is this man, the bus, Jerome Bettis, on hand for the All-Star festivities and throwing it into Rocket Wheeler. The great running back, a Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
How'd you like him around in third, trying to take you out at home plate?
And the other gentleman, of course, is Reggie Sanders.
Absolutely.
Who also threw out a ceremonial first pitch here on this All-Star night. We hope to be chatting with both gentlemen as the evening goes on. Boy, how'd you like to have the bus hitting cleanup for you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, that's a guy. I know he's got power in there without question. He's just a joy to be around. Always got a smile on his face. Fans love him here. He's just signing autographs, doing interviews. Look at him. Just loves being around the game.
And this is one of 3 clubs that he has part ownership in the minor leagues. And of course, Reggie Sanders, one of the all-time greats out of this state, a native of Florence, South Carolina, had a marvelous major league career. In fact, we believe he's the only player in the history of baseball to play in 4 league championship series on 4 different teams. The managers meet at home plate. In white, representing Myrtle Beach, the Braves High A club, that is Rocket Wheeler. And with his back to you now, his front side, that is Brian Harper, the manager of San Jose and the all-star skipper for the California League. We'll be back with the first pitch in just a moment. Welcome back to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The Carolina League All-Stars have taken the field, and we're just about set for the start of our All-Star game here, the 15th California Carolina League All-Star affair. Let's meet the All-Star umpires. The plate umpire is Chris Graham. Jay Pierce is at first base. Matt Cumbie is the second base umpire. And Tim Rosso is the third base umpire. And just a note on the second base umpire, Matt Cumbie. You see him stretching out there in center field. This is his last game umpiring tonight. He's leaving professional baseball to enter private business after this game. But what a way to go out with an all-star assignment and working second base. And our congratulations and best wishes to Matt Cumbie. And here's Jay Pierce, the umpire that's working at first base. I want to introduce you to Tim Rosso. He's the man at third. And Chris Graham works the plate.
Those guys do not get enough credit. You think hardships traveling in as a player in the minor leagues, umpires doubly tough. They're on the road constantly. Tip your cap to those guys.
140 road games for those guys.
Yep.
Well, here is the left-hander T.J. McFarland getting in his warm-up tosses. Plays at Kinston in the Cleveland Indians organization, and as you mentioned, Nick, has had a whale of a start. A 7-2 record and a microscopic 1.98 earned run average.
Yeah, ERA leader in the Carolina League, and just a guy that's just been getting done. And all season long, he's done a great job against left-handed hitters. As I said, 88 to 91 on the fastball, can sink it, got a good slider and a good change.
He'll face a right-hand hitter to start things, center fielder Juan Perez of the San Jose Giants. He's hit 7 home runs this year, and he put on quite a show during Home Run Derby. He did not make it to the finals, obviously, we just showed you, but he did hit some long balls and a very impressive compact swing. So we're ready for baseball, and glad to have you with us here from Myrtle Beach. Perez with San Jose hitting .327 this season at the break. And a swing and a miss.
See that nasty pitch right there from McFarland. You can see why he's so tough and has that ERA lead. Throws that back foot slider.
One and two.
That's just some filthy stuff that he's throwing. Just late life at the very end, coming from that left-handed arm slot.
Fourth-round draft pick out of high school, Amos Alonzo Stagg in Palos Hills, Illinois. And a tapper foul keeps the count at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, you got a guy like McFarland, and you can see why he's leading the league even early on, because he mixes his pitches, he hits his spots, he's ahead of the hitter. That's how you get an ERA under 2 at the All-Star break.
Breaking ball, tried to backdoor it and missed. 2-2. McFarland last year at Lake County to get his career underway went 9-4 with a .358 and 23 starts. And a rocket foul between the bag and the skipper Brian Harper there at third base. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
There's Harp. Probably remember him, Minnesota Twins, 1991 World Series champs. One of the catchers, actually caught most of the year for the Twins that year.
2-2.
Well, this is a nice at-bat by Perez. He's got a nasty pitcher up there, but as a leadoff hitter, he's doing his great job seeing a lot of pitches, fouling some pitches off. Great at-bat.
He has fouled off 3 straight 2-strike offerings. Another from TJ is lifted into the gap in left center field. Short on the move, diving, can't get it, and this ball will trickle its way toward the warning track. And down to second goes Juan Perez with a leadoff double.
Well, we might not see a better at-bat tonight. We just saw it from the first hitter. Fouled off a bunch of pitches, went down in the count early, got something in, pulled his hands in. Nice job of reacting to that pitch inside. Nice effort right there, just didn't come up with it. But Perez, nice start for the California All-Stars.
And that is Brandon Short in left field who made the diving try from Winston-Salem. So Perez at second base. Now Alexi Amarista, the second baseman. Representing the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, the Angels' high A team. 1 ball, no strikes. McFarland expected to go a couple of innings as you look at Alexi's stat line for the season. And hit in the air to center field. Justin Green is there. Here is Perez tagging. He'll draw a throw and safe at third. The ball gets away and Perez will come on toward the plate. The throw not in time. 1-0 California.
Well, productive out, error on the throw, and there's a run for the California League All-Stars right off the bat. Ball was hit well. 2 well-hit balls off the leading ERA pitcher in the Carolina League. You're going to see this ball actually kick off the base runner, scoot to the left. Sometimes there's a lot of coaches and managers like to see their left fielder over there trying to back up just in case, and that's exactly what happened. It got no man's land. The pitcher wasn't ready for that ball to kick over to foul territory.
So nobody on and 1 away, 1-0. And Brandon Belt, the first baseman, gets a piece of it. Oh, what a season. Young Brandon Belt is putting together quite a story too, Nick, because he pitched in Texas this time a year ago. He was in the College World Series.
Yep, you remember him pitching in Omaha.
Breaking ball fouled away, and it's 0-2.
I mean, halfway through the year, he's flirting with 400. His on-base percentage is .503, which is phenomenal. When they tell me about Belt, is his ability not only to hit, but to see the pitches, take the pitches that are just off the plate and able to recognize that. That's how you hit close to 400. You got to get your walks.
And a 3-pitch strikeout here. McFarland takes care of Belt.
How about that? Leading hitter in the league, and McFarland makes short order. Watch this slider. Ooh, that's nasty.
It will bring up the designated hitter, Rich Poitras.
Region College World Series, played there a couple years ago, the University of Georgia.
Out of Greenbrier High School in Grovetown, Georgia. Mariners took him #2 last summer. Here's a bouncer that's going to be fielded on the mound by McFarland. And he throws Poitras out at first base. But the California All-Stars get a run, a hit, an error, nobody left. And at the end of a half an inning, California won and Carolina coming to bat. San Jose's Juan Perez doubled to lead off the ball game and scored on a throwing error, and that's where we stand, 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the first, and you get to meet the Carolina All-Star lineup.
Brandon Short, I'm playing left field, hometown, Mechanicsville, Maryland.
Oscar Tejeda, second baseman from Dominican Republic.
Eric Hosmer, the first baseman, Cooper City, Florida.
Ryan Lavarnway, catcher, Woodland Hills, California.
Seth Lohman, DH, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Michael Burgess, right field, Tampa, Florida.
Will Middlebrooks, third base, Texarkana, Texas.
Eduardo Escobar, shortstop, Maracay, Venezuela.
Justin Green, center fielder, the Goose Creek, South Carolina.
And the California League All-Star in defensive Lee, it is Tyson Auer in left, Juan Perez center, Blake Turcotte is in right, Jimmy Cesario third, Drew Cumberland short, Alexi Amarista at second, and Brandon Belt at first. Jordan Pacheco is the catcher. And on the hill is 6'4" right-hander Craig Westcott.
Westcott, San Jose Giant, teammate of Brandon Belt, having a fine year. Another guy that gets it up there 91 miles an hour in 12 starts. He's 5-0, 1.55 ERA, which is absolutely phenomenal. Only hitting 235 against him. And the great thing about this guy, he knows how to hit his spots, and you see an ERA like that in the California League.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. See, our viewers may not know this. The two leagues are very different in how they're perceived. Big offense in the California League, always. It's known as an offensive league.
Left fielder Brandon Short representing the Winston-Salem Dash, the White Sox high A team. And they're having just a gangbuster season in a brand new ballpark in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. 1 ball and no strikes. Short leads the Carolina League in hits and total bases. Gets a piece of this one, sending it straight back. 1 ball, 1 strike. A major improvement for Brandon Short. He was at Kannapolis last year in the low A.
Yeah, look at those power numbers already surpassing in the home runs.
Two and 1. As Brandon just mentioned to you, Mechanicsville, Maryland native and a 28th round pick of the White Sox. Swinging a foul back. 2 and 2. Well, you talked about the improvement from last year. All season at Kannapolis, he had 98 hits. He's got 93 this year in half a season. Pitch outside, full count.
Yeah, 49 RBIs already compared to 55 RBIs a year ago for the whole season. Talking to Rocket Wheeler, he said that the pitchers on the Carolina side are probably only going to go 2 innings. No one's going to go beyond that.
And a swing and a miss for strike 3. So Craig Westcott with 48 strikeouts, 63 2/3 innings for San Jose, starts his All-Star night with a punch-out. Now second baseman Oscar Tejeda plays at Salem out of the Dominican Republic, and he has had just a tremendous year. A breakout season, hitting .338. Looks at 1 low. A career best 8 home runs at the All-Star break. He began playing professionally in 2007 as he signed on July the 2nd.
He's the guy I was talking about. He compared his swing to Alfonso Soriano. He's a wiry, strong hitter, showing power this year, making great strides.
1 ball and 2 strikes. There's the Rocket Man, Skipper, the Pelican.
Man, I tell you,
You two cross paths.
Yeah, you know, 35 years ago, he took me around and showed me the University of Houston campus on my recruiting trip. Of course, I ended up going to Florida, but I've known Rocket since then. What a great guy.
And another strikeout for Craig Westcott. 2 up and 2 down.
Nice slider right there. But it does look like Soriano's swing, especially at the finish. But that was a tough pitch to hit. Bottom fell out of that one.
A left-handed batter is next, and Eric Hosmer, the first baseman, leading the Carolina League in hitting at Wilmington at .356. Swing and a number foul. A couple of years ago, this was the best high school hitter in the draft. The Royals took him number 3 out of American Heritage High School in Plantation, Florida. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. And it was interesting, he struggled last year, and then in August had LASIK eye surgery, and it's made all the difference.
Yeah, he was talking about his offseason, how much he prepared for this one coming up. That American Heritage High School is a small school, like a 1A school down there in Broward County, Florida. See the numbers this year, phenomenal batting average. His power is going to come. You see the size of that kid right there. Now, when I say the power is going to come, it's there. It just isn't shown so far in the home run department, but you see it in there. You got to remember, he's still a youngster. And he said his off-field preparation this year has really paid off dividends. He got all his work in. He didn't slack off on any days, and he said that's all part of it.
Bases empty, 2 outs, and a full count to Hosmer at 3-2. Hosmer was headed to Arizona State, but then the Royals came up and they put a boatload of cash in his back pocket.
Yeah,
he signed with KC,
and it was a late sign, like right at the deadline.
Inside corner, strike 3 call as Westcott impressively strikes out the side. 3 up and 3 down for Craig Westcott. 1-0 California. Nothing California. Hey, what could be better? A day at the beach, and then you come on over to BB&T Coastal Field for a ball game.
Life is good.
We go to the 2nd inning, and the California All-Stars are ready to face T.J. McFarland for a 2nd inning. McFarland yielding an unearned run in the top of the 1st, and now he'll face the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for the California All-Stars. Catcher Jordan Pacheco, representing the Modesto Nuts of the Colorado Rockies organization. Number 8, he'll be the leadoff hitter. The throw down and the peg around as we get set for inning number 2.
This place is packed tonight. Crowds enjoying the home run derby.
The gates opened at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and fans have been here all day enjoying all the festivities, batting practice, infield, home run derby. The VIPs were ushered in and beautiful new Corvettes. It was quite a scene.
Gary the Horn guy.
That changed your life.
It did, pretty much. Pre-game show.
Here's Pacheco fouling one away. A .325 hitter, and there he is. Your man.
There's Gary the Horn guy. See,
he's bringing it tonight.
That is special right there.
Swinging center field. Green backtracks. 1 goal. Pacheco is out. That brings up the shortstop, representing Lake Elsinore and the Storm out of San Diego Padres organization. This is Drew Cumberland coming up to bat. Cumberland out of Milton, Florida, was a sandwich pick of the Padres in 2007. Left-handed hitter, taking strike one.
See, he's another guy that improving his power numbers. Had 2 home runs all of last year and 290 at bats. Already has 7 this year and 227 at bats. And what they'll tell you, Bob, with these minor league players, the power comes usually in your 2nd or 3rd year, and this is where about these players are. So you start developing that power with the wood bat in the pro game. Right about now is when you start taking off.
For the college players that come in to professional baseball, what adjustments do they need to make trading in the aluminum for the wood?
Well, the term they use is throw the head out, and that means get the head of the bat, the barrel, and get that thing going out there. Lead with your hands and square it up. Get that barrel through the zone quicker, because you could be lazy in college ball at that aluminum, get hit on the hands, and flare hits all over the place.
Breaking ball fouled off.
What's a flare base hit in an aluminum bat is a broken bat that doesn't even leave the infield with wood in the pro game, and it can become very frustrating because you're used to getting those hits at the college game, and then here you are, I don't know, a week, a month later, you're drafted, now you're in the pro game, same swing, different result.
Tejeda. 2 gone. Oscar Tejeda.
He's smooth. The Red Sox are real happy about his development and his actions around second base. And you can see where he is wiry strong. That body right there is one that's going to develop power. I mean, he's got gap power now, and who knows where he can go, but I love his actions around the bag.
Third baseman Jimmy Cesario from Modesto. 2 outs, bases empty, 1-0. California. Strike on the corner. Cesario has 9 triples this season in addition to those glittering stats. That's tied for first in the California League. And it's 0-2.
9 triples. I mean, that's a career for some guys. He's got it in half a year. You know, that's why you lead the league in ERA. You throw strikes. And for the most part, he's been ahead of all these hitters. Perez did a nice job leading off the ball game. Battling, and finally getting the double.
Now the 1-2, just a piece. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
See, that's a nasty 2-strike pitch on a 1-2 count, but that's what good hitters will do. They'll foul them off and hope that the pitcher makes a mistake on the next one. That's a nice piece of hitting right there. Even though it's just a foul ball, because there's a lot of hitters would not have made contact with that.
Pop toward first. Hosmer foul territory, and this one will drift into the stands. And you can get a flavor of the capacity crowd here at BB&T Coastal Field in Myrtle Beach. What a beautiful ballpark. The Braves High A Club. And what a great success story it has been for the Braves working with Myrtle Beach. The city and county coming together to put this ballpark together, and they have hit the proverbial home run. T.J. McFarland from Kinston out of the Indians organization. His second All-Star inning, and a swing and a miss as he pulled the string on Cesario. Second strikeout for McFarland, so his night is done, and an impressive second inning for him. We move to the bottom of the second, 1-0 California. The 2010 California Carolina League All-Star Game is presented by the Myrtle Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Along with Nick Belmonte, Bob Rathman, and our crew back in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And more entertainment coming your way. And this is just a warm-up act. You'll stay with us later. You'll see this man juggling chainsaws. New pitcher representing the Lake Elsinore Storm. This is right-hander Anthony Bass.
I don't know what's more difficult, juggling chainsaws or going through this all-star lineup if you're a pitcher. And Bass is going to do just that. In his 14th appearance, 6-2 record, sparkling ERA 2.74. And let me tell you, to have an ERA under 3 in the California League is phenomenal. Only 12 walks in 75 and 2/3 innings. A lot of times, you know, Bob, we'll see guys in the California League, and you'll see ERAs in the low 4s, and we'll go, boy, he's having a great year. That's right. He's only like a 4.05. Anything under 3 is that much better. It's phenomenal how these guys are putting up low numbers. That's a hitter's league.
Right-handed hitting catcher representing the Salem Red Sox. Ryan Lavarnway leads off the second inning for the Carolina League All-Stars against Anthony Bass. The Ivy League represented. This young man played at Yale. Swing and a foul back. 1 ball and 1 strike. 6'4", 225. 6th round pick of the Red Sox in 2008. He was an outfielder in high school in California and then converted to catcher at Yale at his own request. Slow roller. Cesario not in time. Infield hit. Well, the Catchers Union will be proud. An infield hit up the third base line for Lavarnway.
And I'm not going to say run's good for a catcher because I know catchers don't like that. Just a double pump right there. He got down there pretty quick.
Left-handed hitting designated hitter Seth Lohman from the Winston-Salem Dash. Lohman cracking it up this year. He's got 14 home runs to lead the league at the break. Had 15 last year. He's repeating this level, 15 at Winston-Salem a year ago. And has been hit with a pitch 20 times. Swings and fouls 1 straight back. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And notice the armor on the elbow right there. A la Barry Bonds.
Lavarnway leads at first. And a jamming inside pitch makes it 1-2.
Just challenge him. Fastball down and in.
Lohman stays alive. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Young man from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Originally signed by the Angels out of junior college in 2006. Dad Doug played in the big leagues with Milwaukee. Liner dropped. Throw to second. Throw to first. Not in time. So a 1-6 force takes care of Lavarnway, and Lohman will replace him at first base.
Well, that's a nice presence of mind right there. Ball coming right back at you. Just the reaction. So when something like that happens, a lot of times a pitcher's disoriented. He's able to pick it up and make a nice throw. Almost gets the double play. Just a little slow developing play, but lucky they got at least 1 on that hard hit ball.
The next hitter, left-handed hitting right fielder Michael Burgess from the Potomac Nationals, from Hillsborough High School in Tampa, Florida. High school that produced guys like Gary Sheffield and Doc Goodman, Carl Everett. And young Mr. Burgess, when he gets a hold of one,
oh, man,
it will go a long way.
This guy has got plus power. And when they talk about, you know, when the scouts talk about a player, they'll say a guy has plus power. That's plus major league average power. Pitch freezes him right there. But this guy has plus power.
I watched him with great interest in the home run derby. He just couldn't get it rolling.
Yeah, and that's sometimes that's tough. You know, it's a timing issue. And, you know, once a guy gets a few in, then he gets on a roll.
Skied to left center. Left fielder Auer makes the catch.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. He didn't even hit that well. He was fooled on the pitch. He almost one-handed it. And he almost went opposite field to the warning track. You see it right here. He's fooled on the pitch. He thinks it's just a pop-up. You can see his reaction. And it just goes all the way to the warning track. The young man has got power.
Third baseman Will Middlebrooks. Hitting .283 this season. 5th round pick of the Red Sox in 2007 out of Texarkana, Texas High School.
Good slider right there, pulling off that pitch is Middlebrooks.
Anthony Bass is the all-star pitcher for California, and he comes up with a strikeout here on 3 pitches, and that's it for the Carolina League All-Stars. No runs, a hit, and a man left. End of 2 in Myrtle Beach, 1-0 California. Welcome back, everybody. Top of the 3rd coming up. California 1, Carolina 0. And more entertainment here. Nick, you're the analyst. Take it away.
Well, this is the water balloon toss, and the key here is to keep the feet moving. I mean, if you don't have a chance in this. You're not going to move out of the Carolina League or the California League to a AA balloon toss kind of scenario if you just can't get the balance going. And these guys are good. This is why they're here. They've gotten off to a good start this year in their preliminary. See, that's good stuff right there. He'll be in AA balloon toss by the end of the year, one would think.
Yeah.
You see
now, the guy on the left,
well,
he may be going to Rome.
Yeah, he's going back down. There's no question. He's just not getting it done. He doesn't want it bad enough, which is part of the problem.
You can't catch it with your hand.
No, it's like soccer.
That was an all-star.
Not allowed. No.
All-star performance.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Brock Hunsinger is the new pitcher representing the Salem Red Sox.
See the numbers on Hunsinger right there. Another guy under 3 ERA, 2.83 in half a season, and that's in 76 in the 3rd innings. Again, a low walk guy. 37 strikeouts. The guy that has his hitters put the ball in play. They're only hitting .226 against him. That's a guy that has a heavy ball. And what I mean by that is they roll over the top of it. They can't lift it. It just has that downward movement, and that's what good pitchers will do.
And a left-handed hitter to lead things off here in the 3rd inning for the California All-Stars. From the University of Miami, Blake Tecote.
Yeah, Blake Tecote is from Columbia, Missouri. And notice when they introduced him, he didn't say what city he was from. He said from the U. So
exactly.
His University of Miami heritage.
3rd round pick of the Padres 2 summers ago. And this season, his best as a professional. Popped back and out of play. You see the progression in terms of the average. First time up over 300.
Well, he's all excited. His new nephew Alex is here watching the game. Just became an uncle. His sister Lindsay's little boy. He said he's all excited. Gets to see his uncle play his first game, and it's in an all-star game.
Rolls over on 1 to first, and Hosmer takes care of it, 3 unassisted. 1 down in the 3rd inning. Next to bat, the number 9 hitter, but don't let that fool you, because in an all-star game, these guys are batting in positions that they normally would not occupy. This is Tyson Auer. And not on that stat line, his stolen bases, 40 in half a season, and he's been caught 12 times. Gets a piece of this one.
And that's an amazing number right there, you know, on par to get close to 80, but an outside chance if he goes crazy to get 100. Came out of University of Central Florida, played for Jay Bergman down there. The Orlando area.
And a shot up the middle for a base hit.
I know where he gets his running from. His dad, Joe Auer, was a guy that when I was a kid went to my first Miami Dolphins game. He ran the kickoff back for a touchdown to start the Miami Dolphins AFL start in the history of the franchise. And there's his son right there. Chip off the old block.
Absolutely.
How about that? Start a franchise, take the kickoff and run it back all the way. That's his dad.
Juan Perez began the ball game with a double and has scored the game's only run. A one-out single has Auer at first, and let's see if Brian Harper will turn him loose here.
He's kind of an unusual stance. He's really got that right foot open. He's almost like a sprinter stance.
And he's running. Pitch is driven down the left field line, deep, and if it's fair, it's gone. Home run. Juan Perez showing off that power we saw earlier this afternoon in the home run derby. Makes it 3-0 California.
Juan Perez with a great first at bat, fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch, finally hitting a double. Boy, he wastes no time on this one. Watch this, all over this pitch right here. Little two-seam fastball action that's riding back in on him, and he just squares this pitch up. Look at the hands, nice short compact swing. Throws the knob end of the bat right at the pitcher and then lets the barrel do the talking as he pulls it. You like those nice short compact swings. It generates more power than people realize. Just very quick through the zone. Could you say possible MVP lead in this ball game?
6 total bases in 3 innings.
Huh? He's going to be tough to beat.
Now coming up to the plate, second baseman Alexi Amarista hit a fly ball to center field in the first inning. A terrific defensive second baseman. Only one error in 61 games all season.
That might be one of the most phenomenal stats that I have seen in this All-Star game. The one error in that amount of games.
Hammers one, but right at the first baseman Hosmer. 2 outs.
Boy, they're getting some good swings in. Amarista just hits it right at Hosmer. But he's getting a glad hand because they know he squared that one up too.
2 outs, bases empty for Brandon Bell, the strikeout victim against T.J. McFarland in the first inning on 3 pitches. Fouled a couple off. Hunziker pops the mitt and misses high. I was intrigued to learn about Brandon Belt. Once he signed, after his success at Texas, they completely reworked his batting stance. Another liner to first. And Hosmer, a busy man that inning, makes all 3 putouts. But the long ball, the story of the top of the third. Center fielder Juan Perez, with Tyson Auer aboard, drills one down the left field line, a 2-run shot to make it 3-0. And the star of stars so far has been Juan Perez. Hit a 2-run home run in that third inning. And Nick, this is the stroke that he put on for us in the home run derby contest.
And see, he's getting it going too. You get that in a groove, and he repeats the swing, and that's how guys get it going in the home run derby. You're in sync with the BP pitcher. He puts it in the same area.
First round, he had 5 home runs, and adds another one in the big game. As we move to the bottom of the third, new pitcher, and this is 6'8" High Desert Maverick Ken Kasperick.
.281 ERA, 6-1 record. Only 18 walks in 86 in the third innings. That pattern of low walks. I mean, you got stuff, you got velocity, and you throw strikes. That's what makes you an all-star. You're going to see that all night with these numbers.
And leading it off for Carolina, Eduardo Escobar out of Winston-Salem, hitting .277 for the dash, and is recognized as the best defensive shortstop in the White Sox minor league system. Signed out of Venezuela in 2006. A big bounce to Belt. He'll throw to the pitcher covering, One away. Next up is Justin Green, center fielder. Escobar's Winston-Salem teammate. And a native South Carolinian. He's from Goose Creek and gets a nice round of applause as he's introduced.
How would you like to have played high school against his high school club?
Yeah.
They had Justin Smoke, who went to in the big leagues right now, played at South Carolina before that, and then Matt Wieters.
I wouldn't mind playing against him, but pitching might be a different story.
Did they ever lose?
1-1. In the air to center. Perez getting back there quickly. Makes a nice grab on the run. 2 gone. Top of the order next. And left fielder Brandon Short. Well, Perez is having quite a game.
He's all over the place.
Short struck out swinging his first time. Rolls one to short. Cumberland. And a great pick at first by Belt to get the out. Well done. 6-3. And that's it for Carolina in the 3rd inning. Drew Cumberland ranging far to his left. The 360 spinner. And the dig out by Belt. 3-0 California. Here he goes. 2 chainsaws.
Yeah, he doesn't end there. He was doing that, practicing in the elevator in the hotel on the way up, and I was in the corner, and I couldn't wait for my floor.
Thank you very much.
Well, as promised, here he is, the phenom, 19 years old, out of Columbia. What a story this kid is. Julio Teheran. Atlanta Braves signed him. A lot of teams were after him, but Frank Wren and the gang got it done. Look at this number right here, 1.38. He's dominant. 39 innings, 31 hits, only 7 walks. The 49 strikeouts, and he'll get it up there. Fastball up to 96. They actually clocked him at 97. But they're talking about a 19-year-old kid talking to Rocket Wheeler and his manager from a year ago, Randy Engel, and they both told me, he said, what impresses us about Julio is his poise and how he's more mature beyond his years of 19. I mean, here he is, a young kid in a strange country, just dealing with all this, signed for more money than any Colombian pitcher on record. And a lot of pressure on him to do well, and they said he's handled it terrifically.
Started this season at Rome.
Yep.
Made 7 starts, went 2-2, and his ERA there was 1.14. Then he got promoted to Myrtle Beach. His first game here, he struck out 12. His 3rd start here, he struck out 14. We've been waiting all day to watch him pitch. And Rich Poitras is the leadoff man. Poitras on a comeback into the mound his first time. The former Georgia Bulldog.
.96 miles an hour on that fastball. And don't think these California League All-Stars weren't excited to face him, because there's a lot of talk. These players know who's out there, who's the guy that's the phenom, and a lot of them want to get their licks in to see if they could deal with him.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
Slider on that pitch. I mean, one of the things too, they say he's got a good changeup. When you're throwing 96, the last thing a hitter wants to see is a changeup. That one hit 97. Now the changeup, a lot of times they'll throw to a left-handed hitter, just tailing away, and they'll have no chance of hitting it.
But how about the life in the arm? Just an effortless delivery.
It is. It's nice, compact, and effortless. It comes out, the term free and easy, 97, 96 miles an hour.
See ya.
97, just here it is. See if you can hit it. They're going to be telling stories back in the California League next week about this guy they saw in Myrtle Beach. Look at that. Nice downward movement on everything. Repeats his delivery. It just challenged him. Just gas.
And as Poitras was walking back, he had something to say to the next hitter, Pacheco. I'd love to know what he said. Probably, you know, you better dial it up a notch.
Well, I think it's the line they use from Wizard of Oz when they're getting ready to get. I'd turn back if I were you. Would probably be words of wisdom at this point.
That was some smoke. And here's Pacheco now, the catcher, representing Modesto.
Well, this kid's all as advertised. I mean, this is just fun to watch. I believe he's just going to go one inning tonight. And it may be a quick one.
Hosmer lost it initially. Now, as he finds it, the ball a good 10 rows back.
When guys throw as hard as Turan does, you'll see a lot more fly balls than you will ground balls, and that'll be a result of just late on the ball. You probably should play every right-handed hitter to go opposite way and work from there when he's on the mound. '98. I mean, it's the way it's going. Is he going to hit 100 by the end of the night? Brian Harper. Also managed, well, yeah, one thing in common, we both managed the minor league team in Salt Lake City. The Wasatch Front, great place to manage. Great city. His advice to the batters is just take your hacks, get your hacks. This is your night. I mean, this is one of those nights, if you're a manager, you just sit back and watch. These are all-stars. Just let them have fun. You're not going to micromanage an all-star game. I doubt we're going to see anybody bunting people over unless it's to win the game. But they're just going to let them play. They've earned it.
The 2-2 pitch. Swing, fly ball left center. That ball is well hit. That ball is going to be caught at the fence. Brandon Short pulls it back in.
Pacheco's laughing. He just missed taking 96 miles an hour out of the ballpark. Takes Short all the way back to the wall. Feels for it. Knows where he's at. Takes the home run away. If he doesn't outstretch and get there in time. That's a nice piece of outfield play right there because he got over there, set up. They're all kidding that he just took 96 and actually, for the most part, hit it out of the ballpark. It had to be brought back in.
Swing and a miss by Drew Cumberland.
There's the changeup right there. 81 miles an hour. I know guys that their fastball's not 81. See, he's going to throw that to the lefties, and it's going to be sick.
Ground ball through the hole left side. A base hit for Cumberland.
Nice job by Cumberland. He got the changeup and stayed on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
So a 2-out single brings up Jimmy Cesario, the third baseman. You're watching the #1 pitching prospect in the Atlanta organization, 19-year-old Julio Teheran. Cesario struck out against McFarland in the second. And Cesario yanks it foul, 0-1.
Well, this is the base hit right here by Cumberland. This is 96 mile an hour after he threw a changeup, and the adjustment here of keeping his hands back, which is easy to do when a guy's throwing 96 miles an hour, but it was a nice piece of hitting right there.
It's easy to do because you just laid on the swing.
Yeah,
That's it. I mean, it's not by design. It's not like keeping your hands back on a breaking ball. It's to keep your hands back because it's already by you. But you know, you go ahead and use that opposite field if you're facing that. And he did a nice job finding a hole.
Runner moving, swing and a miss, throw down, off goes the mask.
I think they're gonna call him out. Hitter's interference.
Yes, it was. We saw that little explosion there at the plate. We were wondering what happened, and the bat caused the interference. So that's it. No runs, a hit, and a man left. And at the end of 3.5, it remains 3-0. Impressive Julio Teheran. Nick, let's take one more look at that play to end that last half inning.
Let's see, when the swing and miss happens, the backlash gets him in the mask, and on the contact there's your interference. A lot of times they'll call the hitter out for falling over the plate. That wasn't the case there. He was fine, but when the bat hits the catcher and takes his mask off, there's contact there. It obviously interferes with the catcher's ability to throw, thus the call.
New pitcher is Justin Fitzgerald, representing the San Jose Giants. 11th round pick out of UC Davis in 2008.
See the numbers on the air. 5-1 with a 3.18, 65 innings, 24 walks, 45 strikeouts, surrendered 65 hits. Came out of Cardinal Newman High School in Santa Rosa, California, alma mater of former big leaguer John Wetland. That's in the wine country there in Sonoma County.
Oscar Tejeda will lead it off for the Carolina League All-Stars as the Salem Red Sox second baseman comes up here to start the bottom of the fourth. This one is fouled back and out of play.
When you see Tejeda, you like his hands. They really get through the zone quick. That's the part of the game it's tough to teach. You have to have it or not.
And a smash to left. This was a rocket. Gone over the bleachers. A laser home run for Oscar Tejeda. Not a lot of hang time on that one.
Lightning quick hands. The reaction on the ball, getting through the zone, seeing it, reacting to it. Nothing slow about this bat. Watch the hands just whip through. Oh, you can call that what they call whippy power, whippy swing. And the ball and the hands just whip through the zone.
About to first by Eric Hosmer. And that's one away. Eric's now 0 for 2. One away at the bottom of the fourth inning. A 3-1 game in favor of California. Next up is the catcher Ryan Lavarnway. An opening strike, bases empty, one away. Carolina League All-Stars on the board here with thanks to the Tejeda home run. And a swing and a high pop that's going to curl back into the seats. 0-2. Lavarnway is the leading RBI man in the Carolina League with 54 this season. He's tied for the league lead with the man who'll bat next, Seth Lohman, 14 home runs.
Got off to a great start. 6 home runs in April, 5 in May.
And a swing and a miss for strike 3. Well, Fitzgerald coming up with the strikeout. And here it is.
See that ball right there, like a little cutter that he throws. Just got him out in front. Just a change in speed is all it needed to get him out front.
Fitzgerald this season, 43 strikeouts in his first 60 innings at San Jose. Lohman, the DH, hit into a fielder's choice. That liner that came back at the pitcher. And a strike 2.
You had mentioned that dubious thing of the 20 hit by pitches. That's a dubious record, just 4 shy of the single season record set by former Winston-Salem player Rusty Crockett in '89. He was hit 24 times. Probably still in therapy.
Crockett had no rust before that season started.
No. My goodness. This guy could shatter the record. That's what happens when you're leading the league in home runs. They come inside to you. Take no prisoners.
Still 1-2.
Well, this is the time right here. You just go high up the ladder. You just throw him a changeup, let him flail at it.
And strike 3 called. So Lohman goes down. Fitzgerald picks up a couple of strikeouts, but the inning began with a long ball and a line drive home run to left by Salem Red Sox second baseman Oscar Tejeda. 3-1 California. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Christopher and the Village people. I thought he retired. It's great to see him back in all-star form.
Well, you know, paying all the workman's comp for all the people with him made him think that maybe he couldn't afford it, but he's back. And the fans love him wherever he goes. I've seen him in Winnipeg, St. Paul. I've seen him on the West Coast. I've seen him in Miami Heat basketball. He's everywhere.
A fixture around the National Basketball Association and in ballparks in North America. Outstanding. And they love him on the grand screen. Hang on, Christopher.
Yeah, I don't know what's harder, the actor, the choreography to get on this thing with all his buddies. There they go.
And another treat. Julio Teheran's going to stick around and pitch another inning.
I like that. This is exciting to see Teheran again. Well, the fans are seeing their Myrtle Beach Pelican player for one more time. 10+ strikeouts and 3 of 6 starts since his promotion. Well, you can see why. There's a lot more strikeouts in this man's career.
And an opening strike. Blake Ducote is the leadoff man. Right fielder.
Fine outfielder, Blake Ducote.
Is. Terrific down in Coral Gables. Pitches low, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, you know, he's a center fielder guy, and of course, in an all-star game,
right,
you're going to probably play out of position a lot of times if you're an outfielder, but he can go get him anywhere in the outfield.
Trying to dial it up against Teheran here. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
See, a guy like Ducote, he loves the challenge. Former ACC player. Going against, I mean, you got to love going against guys like Teheran. You know, they're out there throwing 96, 97, 98 miles an hour. You want to face the best. Please.
That's just not fair.
No. Come on. You're sitting on 97, 98, and he drops a slide piece on you. Watch this. If you don't get the jelly legs on this, oh, come on. You're not sitting on that. Blake Ducote's going, I want to swing at 97. Come on, challenge me now. Don't be throwing me a breaking ball.
Tyson Auer lifting one back, going one, single to center in the third inning. Facing the Braves' top prospect, Julio Teheran, here in the fifth. In the 2010 Carolina League, California League All-Star game.
Reportedly, he had signed for reportedly $800,000. You just never know how close it is, but you got a large sum, and at the time, the highest paid bonus to any Colombian player in history.
And the Yankees were the team that the Braves outbid to get his services. Up and in. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Hats off to my former minor league teammate Frank Wren, getting that done. Braves GM.
The 1-2. And the count's even. Juan Perez, who's had the best night of anybody so far offensively, waits on deck for San Jose.
I'd like to see Auer get on base again in that unique style of running.
And a line drive to first, 2 gone. Here's Juan Perez and what he's done for the California All-Stars tonight. A double in the first inning and scored a run, then in the third. Boy, what a stroke.
You hear that sound? The players like to call that a crispy. That nice crisp sound when you get it. That was a crispy right there.
Juan Perez takes a big ball for a strike. Oh, the reaction was priceless.
And he wants the fastball here. He wants to see if he could turn around 97. Doubled up with some breaking balls. Now 97 is going to look like 107.
Boy, went down and got that one. Center field, Green. And the side retired. 3 up and 3 down. Teheran yields 1 hit in 2 innings. Bottom half of the 5th coming up here in beautiful Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We're joined by the skipper of the California League All-Stars and representing the San Jose Giants, Brian Harper, down in the dugout. And Brian, boy, what a night for your man, Juan Perez.
Yeah, he's an exciting ball player. I mean, he really does everything. He plays great defense. He has power, speed, great arm, and he's just a great kid. More importantly, he's a fun kid to coach.
And Brian, I know as a player you probably played in some of these, and we enjoyed your major league career. I think the hardest job for you tonight is what, juggling around, getting everybody in a game, getting them their at-bats?
Yeah, I'm going to start putting the other guys in now, and you know, because the starters have gotten 2 at-bats, and so some of the guys are going to start coming in the game. You know, there's a whole lot of good players on this team. Even the guys, you know, the guys that haven't started are good players. But you know, being the San Jose manager, I'm going to leave my guys in there for the 9. So I mean, that's part of the deal.
Brian
and Juan are going to play.
Brian, your first look at Julio Teheran, what were your impressions of him?
So a real live arm, a sharp breaking ball. You know, he looked real good. You know, he looked like he'd be kind of uncomfortable to hit off of.
Yeah, it makes you want to grab a bat, doesn't it?
No, it makes me glad I'm retired.
Well, Brian, best of luck the rest of the way. We appreciate it.
Thank you. This is a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
And we go to the 6th inning. And we've got the leadoff double by Michael Burgess.
Well, we talked about his power. Yeah, he thinks he just missed it. You see his reaction. He takes the ball down and away and pulls it. One hops the wall. Talked about his power. Washington Nationals prospect and a darn good one from the Tampa area.
Will Middlebrooks is next as the new pitcher representing Modesto. Ethan Hollingsworth is on, right-hander. Rockies' 4th-round pick in 2008 out of Western Michigan. Tapper foul at third base. Well, look at the numbers. Outstanding strikeout innings pitch ratio.
Yeah, look at that. 16 walks in 82 and a third innings. Again, anything under 4 is phenomenal in the Cal League. 295.
Popped up. Is it playable? Nope, this will hit the... Hey, nice catch on the dugout roof. Give that fan a contract. He muffed it. I thought he caught it. It looked like he got the leather on it. Oh, and it got him in the chops on top of that.
Insult to injury, huh?
Take that contract away. Two balls and 2 strikes. Smash to center. Perez got turned around, recovers, makes the grab. And back to second goes Burgess.
Nobody out right there. Burgess probably should have been tagging, but
Eduardo Escobar from the Winston-Salem Dash in the White Sox chain. Switch hitter. Bats left against the right-hander. Hollingsworth out of the stretch. And strike 1 is the call. Out of Joliet, Illinois, 6'2", 200-pounder. 23 years old. 1 ball, 1 strike. Again, Scott to center. Burgess has no idea how many outs there are. And he goes back to second as Perez makes the catch.
Burgess is having an adventure over there at second base because he probably should have tagged on the first fly ball and he would have scored on that one. He's just having a rough time of it at second base.
Okay, Michael, 2 gone now.
Okay, now you can run. Here we go.
Justin Green is the hitter.
And that is the beauty of the minor leagues. I mean, guys are still young. They're still learning. They're going to make mistakes. But the talent is there. Just got to develop it. You know, and part of the development, too, is you know, not just the swings and the throws and the fielding. It's the thinking process. How many outs? When do I tag? When I don't tag? The mental part of the game. You work on it at the A-ball level.
Inside, 3-0.
Because when they get promoted to AA and AAA, that's when the AA, AAA manager says, didn't you teach him anything down there? And they call up the manager.
Get Belmonte on the phone. And a walk for 2 outs. So 2 men on. At the top of the card, left fielder Brandon Short. Didn't he make a terrific catch in the 4th inning when Tehran was pitching? Pacheco hit one to the wall. He went up, grabbed it, took a home run away.
Yeah, it was a great play because he just played it so perfectly. Found the wall, set up, and went over and brought it back in.
Five straight outside the strike zone by Hollingsworth, and that walk, as I look back over the card, that's the first of this game. One ball and 1 strike. The catch that Short made was in the 4th.
Yeah, and remember, it's not his ballpark. Finds the wall, sets up nice, goes over the wall, brings it back in. Julio Tehran. Yeah, that's you, baby. Thank you.
I got you. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, it is an all-star game, and these guys are opponents during the season, but the fun they're having together as teammates and bonding was kind of neat watching, you know, Escobar in the home run hitting contest when he was toweling off the players hitting because it was an all-for-one kind of thing. It's fun to see that, the camaraderie coming together for one night, getting to know each other.
Nice block by Pacheco.
Now, these catchers in this game are special. I mean, a guy like Pacheco, this guy was the MVP of the South Atlantic League last year, and a lot of it was not just for his offense, it was for his defense. You can see why.
2-2 with 2 outs. And a swing and a miss for strike 3. So a threat for the Carolina All-Stars, but nothing more. As Hollingsworth comes up with a big punch out with a man in scoring position. No runs, a hit, 2 left. End of 5, 3-1, California. The All-Stars were here in 2008. And it was the same score, just a different team on top. Let's take you back to what happened here 2 years ago. You mentioned, Nick, the name Matt Wieters. Well, he was with Frederick then, and single to left scored Joseph Dickerson in the bottom of the 1st inning, and Carolina led 1-0. We move ahead to the bottom of the 8th in a 1-1 game. Potomac's Eduardo Baez breaks the tie with a solo shot to right center. And still in the 8th inning, hometown hero Myrtle Beach Pelican Brandon Hicks with a single to center for the RBI. Carolina takes the game 3-1 was the final score. New pitcher representing Lynchburg is Brad Boxberger, a familiar last name if you follow the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at Brad's numbers, 14 appearances, 4-6 record with a minuscule 3.19 ERA. Only hitting 249 against him, 20 walks in 62 innings. Only allowed 57 hits, but look at that, 70 strikeouts. And as you said, Bob, if you follow the game and you've been following it for years, you know his dad Ron was a legend at USC playing for Rod Dato, the legendary coach. And his dad was the College World Series MVP.
And there's the new catcher, Salvador Perez from the Wilmington Blue Rocks, the Kansas City Royals high A team. He takes over behind the plate. Batting now for the California All-Stars is Cole Figueroa.
Former University of Florida player. Son of former big leaguer Bien Figueroa from the St. Louis Cardinals. Played in the big leagues.
Inside. Swing and a fly to right field, and there's one gone. Well, you talked about Boxberger and Lynchburg, and when we were putting the notes together for the game today, we knew we were going to see Tehran pitch, and I saw Boxberger. Lynchburg, that reminds me, 1983, Dwight Gooden in the Carolina League, 300 strikeouts in 191 innings. Can you imagine? In, you know, the parks back then, the lights weren't as nice as they are now. With Gooden stuff in Lynchburg, arguably one of the greatest minor league teams ever put together. 17 players off that Lynchburg team went to the big leagues, including the manager, Sam Perlazzo, the pitching coach, John Cumberland, Dwight Gooden, Lenny Dykstra. Just an unbelievable team that went 96-43. And now this man, Brad Boxberger, continuing the all-star tradition, if you will, with Lynchburg. 2-2. Brandon Belt Lifts one to left field. And short backtracking to the dirt portion, and there's two gone.
Well, just like his dad, he played at USC. Dad, a USC legend. Out of Tuscan, California. It's a big boy right there, 6'2", 200.
Rich Poitras with 2 outs and the base is empty.
And that fastball to the tune of 94.
You don't get much of a break, do you?
No.
They just keep coming. The flamethrowers, one after the other.
Yeah, Poitras is up there, and he's thinking, I had Tehran throwing 97, 98 to me. Now I got this guy throwing 94, 95 at me. This is when you call as a hitter, you say, maybe I'll cheat on the fastball and get that swing starting a little earlier. That's what he tried to do there.
Big hop for Escobar. And he throws on to first, a 1-2-3 California 6th inning. At the end of 5.5, California 3 and Carolina 1. A 3-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning for the California All-Stars. A reminder, friends, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, the Carolina League, and the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues, Incorporated, and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, the Carolina League, and the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues, Inc. is prohibited. New pitcher, and no stranger in this part of the country, out of NC State, Eric Surkamp, representing San Jose.
Yeah, pitch for Elliot Avent at NC State. Look at the numbers on the year. Sparkling 3-1 record with a 3.50, and I love that. 235 against, 17 walks, 69 strikeouts. You got to love that as well. So, big Eric Surkamp. Last time we saw him, Bob, he was playing in the ACC tournament. He's looking at Cole Figueroa. Hit the ball right on the nose when he led off last inning, playing second base now.
So those are the changes so far. And Surkamp is ready to come in and go to work now, and he'll face 2-3-4 scheduled, and that'll be Oscar Tejada to lead things off. He homered in the 4th inning, and it was a line drive bullet to left.
Might have been the hardest hit ball tonight because of the way it left this place. You had mentioned at the time, Bob, it got out of here in a hurry.
1 ball and no strikes. Representing the Salem Red Sox. Pops this one up, and it's bending foul. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Focus in on his hands right here on this swing. Watch this. Boom. Just rolls those hands so quick. And a great hitter will do that because they're waiting on the ball because they can. When you're sitting on a pitch, as long as you can sit on it, the better off you have a chance of hitting it. And if you have slow hands, you'll never catch up to it. But he's just the opposite. He's lightning hands. Look at those hands. He keeps them in motion. That's a nice shot. Look, he keeps them in motion.
Check the swing. And it's going to be a strikeout. He offered it the ball, and even though it hit him, boy, that's a painful strikeout right there.
Yeah, if you swing at a pitch that hits you, it's a strike. He's trying to check his swing on a back foot slider. He couldn't do it. The bat's going to watch. The bat's going to cross home. Then it hits him. That's a great call by the umpire because that's exactly what happened.
Chris Graham, the plate umpire, has had 2 all-star calls tonight. He had the hitter's interference.
Yes, he did.
And now he's got a strikeout and a hit batsman. Hang with him, Chris.
Well, that's why you're behind the plate in an all-star game, because you're good.
Eric Hosmer is looking to straighten one out. Rolls this one foul. 0-2. Hosmer, the leading hitter in the Carolina League, has gone 0 for 2. He's looked at a 3rd strike, and he's bounced out to 1st. Well, you know he wants to make some solid contact. Base is empty, 1 away. We're in the 6th inning. All-star game from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The left-hander Eric Surkamp delivers. And a swing and a miss for strike 3, and down goes Hosmer. 2-3 to complete the strikeout.
Just a nasty slider right here. Watch it come. 2-strike pitch. Gives the illusion that it's going to be a fastball down and in. Just way out in front. That's a big league pitch right there. And that's a pitch that, you know, Hosmer, give him a year or two, he's going to lay off that pitch with 2 strikes. He's going to recognize it quick, and that's how hitters develop.
Now catcher Salvador Perez, representing Wilmington, takes it away, ball 1. His first swing of the game. Came in to catch in the top of the inning. Fouls this one away. 1 ball and 1 strike. From Venezuela, Royals signed him in 2006, and he's had a terrific year behind the plate. He has thrown out 43% of would-be base stealers. The 1-1. Off-speed breaker, and it's a swing and a miss.
Yeah, nice change of pace right there. And to put that in perspective, you can see that change of just diving away. 43% of the base runners is phenomenal when you think that 30% is very good. 43% is great.
Strike 3 called on the outside corner. So Surkamp comes in and strikes out the side. 3 up and 3 down go the Carolina League All-Stars, and at the end of 6 it remains 3-1 California. California leading Carolina 3-1 as we go to the top half of the 7th inning. And so gracious to take some time to chat with us is the skipper here at Myrtle Beach and the All-Star manager, Rocket Wheeler.
Bob, Nick, hello. How y'all doing? I tell you right now, it looks like the Perez show. A double, 2-run homer. But I tell you what, we're battling. You know, Tehran, you know, we talked about him before the game a little bit, and the clock out there was showing 97, 98, and he dropped a couple good curveballs and a couple good changeups, and that's what we talked about before the game. He's going to be very exciting coming up.
Let's talk about the kid Tejeda, Rocket. I mean, his lightning quick hands to the ball. It must be just fun to watch from your end.
Oh, it is. I tell you, you know, to watch him go out on the mound, and he knows what he wants to do or try to execute. Now the bottom line is execution, and he had a couple good. He gave up a couple hard hit balls, but they were outs.
And Rocket, you know, again, getting these guys a little camaraderie with everybody. Is that what it's all about when it comes to All-Star time, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, you know, Tejada hits a home run for us, and I mean, everybody's jumping up and down on him in here. A couple guys hit a couple balls hard. Burgess hit the double to right center field, and Middlebrooks hit the line drive. But these guys are hugging and shaking in here, and I mean, they're pulling for each other big time.
Well, Rocket, we appreciate it. Best of luck in the second half, and boy, you guys have done just a bang-up job hosting this game.
Well, thank you. I tell you what, Scott Brown and his staff here, general manager of the ball club, you're right. He does a great job, and this is what happens night in and night out here. You know, we just keep it rolling, so it's a lot of fun. And you're right, second half starts, and we're all at 0-0, and look out, here we come.
Yeah, forget that first half and go get them.
That's right.
Okay, Rocket Wheeler.
Thank you.
Skipper of the Pelicans.
One of the best managers in all of minor league baseball right there, and has been for decades.
All righty, we go now to the California 7th inning, and Alex Caldera is the new pitcher out of the Wilmington Blue Rockets team and the Kansas City Royals organization. Jordan Pacheco is the hitter.
You know, this is the 4th decade that Rocket Wheeler's been managing. Isn't that amazing? Started in the 80s.
Swing and a foul back. Gets 1-1.
I almost missed managing against him in 1990. I know he was managing Medicine Hat with the Toronto club in the 80s, and Rocket Wheeler has just been getting it done. So many big leaguers owe him for his tutelage.
Yes. And you mentioned a long time in the Blue Jays organization.
Yeah, many years.
And now a long time with the Braves. Swing and a miss. And the strikeout. 1 gone in the 7th inning. Drew Cumberland, shortstop, is next. He's 1 for 2 in the game today. Caldera, the new pitcher, As a starter, 6-3, 2.84 ERA this season. 13th round pick in 2007 by KC. One and nothing on Cumberland. Bases empty, one gone here in the 7th. Fisted and fouled back into the seats. 1 ball and 1 strike. The new third baseman is John Gilmore. Greg McClatt is the new shortstop. And Ronnie Welty is the new left fielder. We'll speak more about them when they come up here. 2-1 on Cumberland. You know, you would expect when you got the best of the best, have a well-played game. It has been that. Sky to right and Burgess. 2 outs.
Yeah, the pitchers are dominating in this game, and they should be because they're outstanding. Only 7 hits in this game now. But one of the fun things I like, you mentioned it, Caldera is a 13th rounder. There's guys in this game, 20th round, 28th round, and you know these are the scouts that go out there and they beat down the bushes. And it's not always the first, second, third rounders that make it as the all-stars and make it to the big leagues. It's the guys down there at the bottom that just develop quicker, and it's a lot of fun to see those guys in this game.
We have a pinch hitter here. This is Stephen Parker, representing the Stockton Ports, the lone Stockton representative in this game. Gets one on the ground to shortstop. Escobar throws him out. 1, 2, 3 go the California All-Stars in inning 7. Stretch time in Myrtle Beach, 3-1 California. Three to 1 California leading, and stretch time for the fans here at this beautiful BB&T Coastal Field ballpark in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We were talking with Rocket Wheeler a moment ago about the outstanding job this organization has done, and we want to give a big word of thanks to Pelicans general manager Scott Brown and his tireless staff. You know, not only do they have the Pelicans here, but they've also hosted 2 NCAA tournaments here in the past few weeks. A regional for Coastal and then a super regional here. Tyler Maughan, the director of broadcast operations and media, has done a great job providing us with the info. Jake White, the executive in-game producer here at the ballpark. Chris Ball, the senior director of sports management. And we would be remiss if we didn't thank the city of Myrtle Beach and Horry County for their hospitality and the great job they've done. You know, this is a big undertaking when you're talking about pulling players coast to coast to come here on such short notice, and call-ups and injuries and things change. It's a very fluid situation. And to do it 2 times in 3 years is really a tip of the cap for a job well done with the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. Nathan Eovaldi is the new pitcher from the Island Empire 66ers, the Dodgers high A team.
Out of Alvin, Texas.
Yeah, 11 from Alvin.
Yeah, 11 appearances, 1-4 with a 4.01 ERA. 65 hits, 60 2/3 innings.
Seth Lohman.
And like a lot of people that are from Alvin, Texas, throws gas. 93-mile-an-hour fastball. .96.
No balls and 2 strikes.
And I asked him, Bob, I said, okay, you're from the hometown of Nolan Ryan. How young were you when you first were told the story? He said, I think 2. He learned about Nolan when he was 2.
Then he learned about his family.
That's right. You learn about Nolan Ryan when you're 2, if you're from Alvin. And then you just try to be just like him.
The 1-2 pitch is in the dirt. And an even count. The Dodgers persuaded Eovaldi to bypass a scholarship to Texas A&M. And signed him with a big bonus after the 11th round in June of 2008. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Had Tommy John surgery after his junior year in high school. The payoff. Foul back. It's amazing that every time I think of Dr. Andrews and the Tommy John surgery, how it has just revolutionized pitching.
I think Dr. Job might have been one of the
Dr.
first.
Job
I think he's the one who actually did it on Tommy John, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, you are correct. The 3-2 pitch. Busted bat. Plugged in the hole, but it'll be an infield hit.
Now, see, you asked me earlier the difference between that and aluminum. That's a slicing double down the line, possibly, with aluminum, and he brings the handle with him the first with wood. Just ate him up, but just found the right hole. Nice play right there by Cumberland, but really nothing he could do. The ball wouldn't hit that hard.
Now right fielder Michael Burgess in the home seventh for the Carolina All-Stars. 3-1 game. Burgess doubled his last time.
Now, there have been 2 ties in this ball game before.
A maximum of 10 innings will be played tonight. Your horn guy is getting a second wind.
Well, like I said, he's special. I've seen some All-Star games where if it's tied, then they bring him out and do a home run hitting contest for the win. With half a run. 94 miles an hour.
And hot stuff in the kitchen, too. 2-1.
Baseball vernacular for cheese on the inside, fastball inside, deep in the kitchen. Hot stuff in the kitchen. I like it. Baseball terminologies are so funny because it has its own language of where pitches are. Just by you saying that, hot in the kitchen, that meant fastball inside. Doesn't mean, anywhere near, culinary things. It's just hot in the kitchen.
And a swing and a miss. 3-2.
That was hot in the living room right there. Watch this. 95. Just couldn't catch up with it.
Just no respite for these hitters.
No.
Bring on the next flamethrower. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And Burgess just pops his bat in the air and says, oh, man.
Went back in the kitchen again. Yeah, you said there's no break. There's no off-speed pitchers in this game. Just went inside, fastball. Yep. That was 95 miles an hour.
1 gone. And John Gilmore is going to be the hitter.
Can you imagine if they trotted out like a sidearmer throwing about 79 right now? No one would touch him.
They'd protest.
They wouldn't touch him. He'd be so out in front of him.
Gilmore with a base hit to right. Stopping at second is Lohman. So John Gilmore representing Winston-Salem.
I like the name with the dash. You can see just down and away, just goes with it. When they explained to me how they got the nickname the Dash, it was the hyphen between Winston and Salem is there's a dash. Winston dash Salem, the dash. That's how it was explained to me. Dash sounds cooler than the hyphens.
Yes, it does. The pitch. I've always heard the story about the dash is what you do with your life. The first 4 numerals, the year you were born. The last 4, the year you die. And what you do with that dash constitutes the mark you make on this planet. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Let me get back off the couch now.
2 on, 1 out. There you see the runners. Lohman at second and Gilmore at first base. Again blocked.
These catchers they're superior. They get everything. We haven't had a chance, Bob, to see their arms because there haven't been a whole lot of base runners, right? So we can just tell you how they've done up till now.
Well, we really want to see our run back in the third inning.
Yes,
and
we did.
They sent him, and Perez hit the ball in the ballpark.
Hit it too good. That's right.
Swing and a miss. 2-2.
He's starting to lose it. That was only 93. Now the Dodgers are very happy with this young man.
The hitter, by the way, is Greg McClatt. I don't know that we've said that yet. McClatt, the former Virginia Cavalier.
Wanted to say hello to the Who's Nation, the Wahoos.
Foul back. A disappointed Who's Nation after a tough loss in the Super Regional.
Yeah, tough loss, but a great year for Brian O'Connor. 50 wins for the Virginia Cavaliers. Really have that entire city and region thinking baseball right now.
What an atmosphere for the regional and Super Regionals in Charlottesville. Just outstanding. Good times. 2-2 pitch. And this one is bending and will be a foul.
Well, it was like this kid McClatt right here, the hitter in this ball game, helped turn that Virginia program and keep it going to where it is right now. A team that was ranked in the top 5 all year long. McClatt just one of those scrappy players. Just kind of that dirtbag, get on base, make things happen.
6'3", Nathan Evaldi. Ready to work here. A threat for Carolina in the 7th. Upstairs, throw to first, safe.
See, this is a classic matchup right here. You got the scrappy young hitter and the big stud on the mound. Watch the release on this. He gets it down there in a hurry. You don't want to get picked off in the game situation now. You're down a couple of runs.
Tapper past the pitcher. Tough play for the second baseman, and everybody's safe.
No way they get McClatt on that. That's a hit. No way.
That loads him with 1 out.
Ball had a lot of topspin. This is a do-or-die play by Figueroa. Even if he gets it cleanly, I doubt he gets him.
And Justin Green, the center fielder from Winston-Salem, will be the hitter.
Uh-oh. Home club making some noise here. The home team in the All-Star game, the Carolina All-Stars, with the potential tie run at second base now with just 1 out.
Green 0 for 1 with a walk his last time. 7th inning, 3-1 California. And an opening strike.
94. There's Brian Harper. Tell you, one of the toughest jobs as an all-star manager is making sure you get everybody some at-bats, you get your pitchers, your innings.
One and one.
Like I said, all-star game, you're not looking for any kind of bunts or squeezes. You're hacking here, bases loaded.
Infield a double play depth. This one is tapped foul at third base.
Now you're a situational hitter. 2 strikes, you at least want to get 1 run in here.
Pause and pitch. Backhand stop to even the count. 2-2. Lohman at third. Gilmore at second. And Greg McClatt at first base. The 2-2 is lifted foul. Three runs, 4 hits, California. 1 run, 6 hits, Carolina. And the long Texan, Nathan Eovaldi, trying to get out of a big jam. Still 2-2.
Just cutting and slashing up there, trying to stay alive, put it in play, get in a run. Just stay out of a double play and get the game one run closer.
Swinging, center field. Back goes Perez. This will get a run home. The tag at third by Lohman. Coming to third is Gilmore. It's a 3-2 game in favor of California.
Boy, real nice at bat right there. Got behind in the count, but did his job. Got a pitch he can elevate to make this game a one-run game now, 3-2. Justin Green, as you pointed out, Bob, there's really no 9-hole hitter. He's hitting in the 9-hole, but he gets a pitch he can elevate. You can see it right there at the angle of the bat. And he knows he's got an RBI right there. That's good stuff. Very productive out. Run scores easily here. Well, not a whole lot you can do. Just get it in the infield. Runner tags up, goes to third. So now the potential tie run down at third base with 2 outs. One of the reminders right there is how you work your first, third steal situations, because in an all-star game, you really don't work on what do you do if you steal first and third. It's not something that you really get out and work first, third plays.
And activity in the California pen. This is Visalia's Brian Woodall. First and third and 2 outs. And the hitter, Ronnie Welty, representing the Frederick Keys, the first half champs in their division in the Carolina League. 1 ball and no strikes. Welty has hit 9 home runs. He hit 6 of them in the opening month of April. Young man from Seattle, Washington.
So he's another guy, 20th round pick. You know, not a guy that's a top 2 round guy.
And a smash to left center, base hit. That ties the game at 3.
There's your 20th rounder right there. Turning around 94 miles an hour. Welty putting a welt on this ball. Guy hit 6 home runs starting the season off, first month of the season. Nice swing.
2 in, 2 outs, 2 on, and Oscar Tejeda at the plate takes ball 1. So Nathan Eovaldi has given up the tying runs here. An infield hit. In fact, 2 of them, a single to right, a single to left, and a sacrifice fly. And Tejeda got it rolling for Carolina in the 4th inning with that solo home run. Missing 2-0.
Well, you could see this kid is special, Tejeda.
And they'll go the short way for the force, and that will be it. But the Carolina All-Stars come up with 2 to tie it on 4 hits in the inning and leave a pair. 3-3 after 7. A 3-3 game as we go to the top of the 8th, but wait, there's more. Mad Chad is back with a chainsaw trifecta. That's if he can get him started. This looks like you on Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's hard to believe after watching his act that he flunked shop class. Because you would think that would be something he'd excel in. Right now I know why. All right, he's got him going here.
Do not try this at home.
Can live next door to this guy? I mean, you wouldn't want to get mad, Chad, mad. You're a hedgerow. Wouldn't look very good.
I know it's a bit of a letdown, but we must move on. J.J. Hoover has come on to pitch.
J.J. Hoover is on. 10th round draft pick in 08. .14 appearances on the year, 4-5 at a 4.14 ERA, 2.63 opponents batting against, 74 innings, only 21 walks, and we've seen that a lot on the pitchers in this ball game. Attended Calhoun Community College, did Hoover, which was the same community college attended by Jorge Posada.
So getting a chance to pitch in his own ballpark here in the All-Star game, and he'll face Dan Robertson from Lake Elsinore.
So you saw those numbers on Hoover, and as far as numbers go, they weren't the most impressive, but you have to consider this. He just got off to just a terrible start. And Rocket Wheeler and staff really went to work on fixing the mechanics of Hoover. Kent Willis, the pitching coach, and they really turned him around to a point where he got off to such a terrible start. He became dominant once they fixed him. Just a little glitch in his mechanics, and then Hoover just took off. He allowed just 4 earned runs in a 6-start span from May 12th to June 8th.
Three and 1. Robertson, a good eye. You look over his career that began in Eugene 2 summers ago. Just about as many walks as strikeouts. Good contact man, and draws a walk here to start the 8th inning. So Robertson's aboard. And next up is Jay Austin. So here's the Atlanta, Georgia native getting his shot here. He was taken by the Astros out of high school in North Atlanta and was an everyday player last year in the South Atlantic League at Lexington at age 18. Swings and fouls one back. Now at the advanced age of 19. He has got some speed. He's got stolen 27 bags so far this year.
Darn good.
Left-handed hitter.
And the fact that he's 19, as you said, Bob, just phenomenal to be in a setting like this at that age. It's so difficult to be an all-star at this level, high A ball, at 19 years of age. Very few times does that happen. And a lot of people consider him the highest ranked prospect on that ball club in the Cal League All-Star game.
One ball and 2 strikes.
There you go. I mean, a situation right here. It's an all-star game because this would be normally a bunt situation because it's an all-star game. Nah, swing away.
Low and in. Lancaster had a rough first half. They were 23 and 47 in the California League South. Swing and a miss. So Austin goes down on strikes.
But you see, Brian Harper, you know, he does the right thing there. It's a bunt situation, but the young man's playing in the All-Star game. He wants him to get his hacks, so he just lets him rip. And
absolutely.
Yeah, you got to tip your cap to Brian Harper right there. I mean, if this is a regular season game, you're bunting there, but Brian Harper knows it's very important for these kids to get their shot. And you don't want to have him one at bat and he lays down a bunt. This is not what an all-star game is about.
Juan Perez, who made an early bid for game MVP with a double in the first and a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning. Bats for the 4th time here in the 8th. 3-3 game. Throw to first. Safe.
That was from the knees. This is a throw coming down from the knees. Closer than you would think from that throwing angle.
Look out. Boy, the bat almost got the on-deck hitter.
Well, this is the 1st inning. This is the double that falls in. That got things going, and then the 2-run homer in the 3rd. So still in the lead, I would think, for MVP honors.
Two-one pitch. 92 miles an hour on the gun that time. J.J. Hoover, 6'3", 230.
Well, that funky delivery, you know, he's going one way, the arm's going the other. Nice deception.
Strike 3 call.
See, that's deception right there. The body goes towards first, the arm goes towards third, and he drops a breaking ball on you. You don't know if you're coming or going here. Watch, look at that big body going one way, the arm's going the other. Then he just drops one in. It's very deceptive right there. Very, very nice way of pitching.
And that will be it for J.J. Hoover.
It's the way to go out. You're striking out a guy that's been dominant tonight at the plate.
So the 2nd Myrtle Beach Pelican of the night to hit the mound. And a pitching change. We'll step aside. 3-3 game in the 8th. And we are back in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 3-3 in the 8th. With the band aboard and 2 outs, new pitcher is left-hander Chris Dwyer from the Wilmington Blue Rocks, one of 4 Wilmington All-Stars in this game. The former Clemson Tiger coming back to South Carolina to pitch here in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, what a year he's having. 13 appearances, 4-3 record, 2.95, only hitting 241 against them. Again, look at the strikeouts, 77 to 73 in the 3rd innings. Wow, only allowing 64 hits, just 29 walks. Pretty impressive.
And he'll be facing, looks like he's going to face Figueroa.
Yeah, Figueroa is a scheduled hitter, and he's just maybe doing a matchup here. But I know he probably wants to get him in the game to pitch.
The first half standings out in the California League, and Nick, you talked about it earlier. What a great job Brian Harper's done taking over that San Jose team, which last year was the champion.
Yeah, and look at that. 6 games ahead. Of course, Elsinore, the same thing over Rancho Cucamonga. But, you know, it's a long year, and these managers, I'm telling you, they earn their money. I mean, they're on buses, and they're not getting a lot of sleep, and the meals aren't great because restaurants aren't open after your games, and you're going here or there. That Cal League's pretty stretched out, so there's a lot of bus rides there. So they're bringing up young men, developing them, and they don't get enough credit when you see guys in the big leagues. It's people like that that help get them there.
Move to first to chase him back. And I always felt like managers in the minors are in such a challenging position because your competitive nature, you want to win the game.
Right.
But you also are working at the behest of the big league club to develop this talent.
Right, especially at the lower levels. You know, A ball on down. You know, there's pitch limits, and you need to play certain guys to develop because they're higher draft picks than others, and you are challenged. And somehow you got to bring it all together and still have camaraderie within your team. Because one of the challenges of a manager is to sit down a guy that's probably playing well, but he's not a top prospect. And he's thinking, well, I'm hitting better than that guy, but I didn't sign for a lot of money. So these managers have to deal with the psychology of that. Plus, guys getting away from home for the first time. You got to be a big brother, a dad.
Fly ball to left. And over the shoulder grab by Welty. Had that one covered all the way. Took the great circle route. To the bottom of the 8th inning, and our Myrtle Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau game summary tonight. And we'll show you a few of the highlights as we move to the final portion of our game this evening. Early on for San Jose and the California All-Stars, Juan Perez was outstanding. A double in the first, and this 2-run shot made it a 3-0 lead for California. 2-run home run in the 3rd inning for California. Then in the 7th, Carolina got even. First on a sacrifice fly by Justin Green. That made it a 3-2 ball game. And then Ronnie Welty, representing the Frederick Keys, with a base hit to left, and that sent home the tying run in John Gilmore. And that's where we stand. 3-3 headed to the bottom half of the 8th inning. And the new pitcher for the California All-Stars is right-hander Brian Woodall.
The former Auburn Tiger / War Eagle. .23 appearances on the year. Now, check out the ERA. Is that crazy? 0.28, 198 against. Nobody hits him. Nobody gets on via the walk. Only 8 walks. And somehow, he's lost 2 games, 44 strikeouts.
We got to go check that out. Here's a bouncer, a little in-betweener, and a good job by the pitcher to get over there and cover. Woodall couldn't get to it, then had to angle back to the bag. Nice play.
You would think on those two losses, defense probably betrayed him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have any losses. Look at that route right there. He was going for the ball and then come back to the base. Nice change of direction at the last second, because he went first for the ball, missed it, and said, oh, I got to cover the bag. Not an easy thing to do.
Salvador Perez with 1 out and the bases empty. An opening strike. The Carolina All-Stars have hit their counterparts from California 7-4, but a 3-3 tie here in the 8th. Fouled in the box. 0-2. Designated hitter Seth Lohman is the on-deck hitter for Carolina. One ball and 2 strikes. And a good job by these Myrtle Beach fans. They have come out in big numbers tonight. Most are hanging around right to the end here. Terrific crowd to watch the All-Stars. The 1-2. Another one in the dirt.
That's his out pitch right there. A little slide piece that he throws. Nickname for the pitch, the slider. What would pitchers call it? Their slide piece. Threw that in the dirt. See if you can get him to chase it. Nice discipline right there by the hitter.
This one drifting and out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, the city of Alvin, Texas is well represented tonight. Woodall makes his home there now. A native of Phoenix City, Alabama. Right on the border. Brian Woodall ready to pitch. And a 2-2 on its way. Bouncer over the mound. Out towards second. Figueroa guns it over there. 2 yards.
Nice job by Figueroa. He knew he had time to make that play, so he set his feet and really put something on the throw. Watch, he's going to plant and set his feet. He knows the base runner, he's going to have some time. If it was a quick runner, he wouldn't be able to do this. He's got a strong arm. He played shortstop most of his career at the University of Florida. They really like him, the Padres organization.
DH Seth Lohman is 1 for 3. His infield hit got that 2-run 7th inning going for the Carolina All-Stars. Representing the Winston-Salem Dash and the White Sox. 3-3 game in the 8th. Popped up. Third base. And there goes Carolina in the 8th inning. So 3 up and 3 down. We head to the 9th. Tied at 3. We are back in Myrtle Beach. And the sumo wrestling, best 2 out of 3 falls, I assume, is underway.
These are actually, one I believe is a president of one of the leagues, and the other is an executive of the other teams in the league. So this is actually Carolina versus California. I think the Carolina League's in the yellow, if I heard that correctly.
There's a new way to run a baseball team.
That's it. It's over. It's over. Boy, that was a... I don't know which is more upsetting, that or the Buster Douglas-Tyson fight. Because a lot of people had the yellow winning this thing. Wow. Well, we'll always remember where we were when the yellow went down.
Well, they'll smell good at the post-game party, that's for sure.
Yeah, those sumo outfits are about, what, 70 games in right about now? Yeah.
And the new pitcher is Jose Duran coming on.
Speaking of boxing, there's
yes,
a boxing name right there. Jose Duran, 16th appearance, 3-1 record, 3.19 ERA. 35 strikeouts in 36 and 2/3 innings, and his job right now is to get that 0 up there and give his team a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th.
Belt the hitter and sends one right in front of the Carolina League All-Stars, who are hugging the rail. And it kicked out onto the playing field. Brandon Belt.
Players are so cruel. Every time a ball goes in the dugout and it hits one of the players like that, they'll always say, "Ugly finder." They're always very cruel to each other when that happens.
And we talked about Brandon at the start of our telecast tonight, how he's led the California League in hitting. He has had one tough night. But against this kind of pitching, you don't expect to tear it up. Look at Perez set up outside.
Yeah, notice where he's not coming in on 0-2. He's staying away. Nothing too good here. 1-2. Tried to backdoor a slider there. See, the problem you have now you don't want to go 3-2 in a 3-3 game, so you're probably going to have to come into him here. The only other thing I could see throwing, if he's got a good one, is a changeup.
Right side. And to the pitcher covering. Well done. 1 up and 1 down. Well, we showed you the California League standings. Here's what happened in the first half of the Carolina League. Now, they play a split season. As Rocket Wheeler was telling us, it goes back to 0-0 for the second half, and Myrtle Beach is just fine with that. It was a rough first half at 24-41. Look at that Winston-Salem record. My goodness. 18 over 500.
That's pretty impressive right there.
First half winners, Winston-Salem and Frederick. Poitras swings again and lines one into the gap. Left center field. This is going to get down and take off toward the track. Poitras around first. On his way to second as the throw comes in. And California has the go-ahead run at second base. First hit tonight for the DH.
The former Georgia Bulldog finally saw somebody who wasn't throwing 98 miles an hour or 95. And he just gets on top of this ball and splits the defenders.
Next up is Jose Felix, the Bakersfield Blaze catcher. Bakersfield, the high A club of the Texas Rangers. Runner at second with one gone. And Duran's pitch misses. One ball, no strikes.
No threat to go there, Poitras.
The High Desert Mavericks. And time called as Kent Willis makes his way to the mound.
Well, Kent Willis has to remind his pitcher here of the situation they're in, and that being the potential lead run down there at second base with one out. And one of the things you got to remind your pitcher here is you do have a base open with one out. He doesn't have to come into him. If he walks him fine, and double plays in order. Poitras over at second base, you know, then it's a decision if Brian Harper wants to send him on a base hit, you know, being a tie game. With one out, probably not. With two outs, definitely. But right now, just one out.
A strike to get him even.
So you get a breaking ball there. So, you know, with 1-0, they're not giving in to him. They know they have that base open.
Oh, he took a swing at a pitch he couldn't hit with a bow to work.
See, now as a hitter, you got to understand what they're trying to do to you. You got to understand the situation. That was another slider. Now watch, he's going to chase. But as a hitter, you got to say, okay, they threw me 1-0 breaking ball. They got a base open. They're not giving in to me, so they're probably going to throw me another breaking ball. He was sitting fastball right there. As a hitter, you got to think.
Potential lead run at second. Swing and a miss. Strike through.
Same thing right there. Looking fastball, got slider and swung over it.
And Rocket Wheeler is out of the dugout. He's going to make a pitching change. Going to the bullpen here with 2 outs in this top half of the 9th inning. Let's take a look at that last K.
Yeah, nasty slider down. Bottom falls out of this thing.
So a break here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We'll be right back. So Duran's work is done. 2 outs in this 9th inning. Poitras at second, and the new pitcher from Winston-Salem, Gregory Infante. Caracas, Venezuela native, has made the transition to the bullpen, and a very good one this year.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. 1-2 record, 3.41 ERA. 244 is all they're hitting against him. 33 strikeouts in 31 2/3 innings. Has not allowed a home run this season. And that's pretty good considering you're just under 30 appearances. You figure you're going to make a mistake somewhere along the line. He hasn't done it. And this is a situation, too, Bob, where he's got the base open, so he doesn't have to go after this hitter. All you want to do is let the hitters get themselves out with that base open right here. Get your team back in the dugout and win it in the bottom of the 9th.
Infante will turn 23 in a couple of weeks. not listed on that stat grid a moment ago, the saves. He leads the Carolina League with 9. So Infante getting in his warm-up tosses here, and Drew Cumberland, the shortstop, California League, sizing him up, getting loose off to the left. A one-out double by Rich Poitras. He retakes his lead out there at second base, and here comes the lefty batting shortstop from the Lake Elsinore Storm, Drew Cumberland. (3-3) ninth inning.
Well, you got to pitch this guy careful. He's one of the top hitters in the league.
In the dirt for ball 1. Cumberland's average at .365, third best in the California League. Nice pick by Perez.
Yeah, how about that? He backhanded that.
This Padres prospect leads the California League in runs scored, an often overlooked but very important stat. 2 balls and no strikes with 2 outs here in the ninth inning. Former Georgia Bulldog Rich Poitras leading at second base. And the 2-0.
See, but this is good. I mean, don't mess with this guy.
Steve Parker on deck. And ball 4 to Cumberland.
That's smart pitching right there. I mean, let the guy get himself out. And that was the plan all along.
So Parker comes up with 2 on and 2 outs. Parker 0 for 1, hit a ground ball to short in the 7th inning. From the Oakland A's organization, the Stockton Ports, former BYU Cougar Stephen Parker. The Carolina League All-Stars trying to pull it out here, but they have got to hold California at bay here in this top of the 9th inning. 1 ball, no strikes. 5 straight wide ones by Infante. Liner off the glove of the shortstop McClatt, and coming around is Poitras. He will score. California leads it 4-3. Oh, what a tough break for Greg McClatt at shortstop. Should have been the 3rd out.
Well, Parker hits this ball on the screws, and it's got a lot of spin on it, and McClatt just wasn't able to corral it off his glove. He looked like he had it all the way. He looked like he was able to read it. Poitras scoring the lead run here in a 4-3 ball game right now for the California League All-Stars.
And California with runners at first and third. Dan Robertson, the hitter, walked his first time in the 8th. Takes low. Tough break for McClatt, and now trying to limit the damage to just 1 run. Center field. And Justin Green jogs in to make the catch. But California breaks the tie. 1 run, 1 hit, an error, and 2 left. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. California leading 4-3. California, middle of the 9th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, the Carolina League. and the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues, Inc. It is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, the Carolina League, and the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues, Inc. is prohibited. In the top of the ninth, California got the lead, a double by Poitras to left center field with one out, set the stage, and after a walk, a liner that went off the glove of McClant scored as a hit, gets Poitras in with a go-ahead run, and now California looking to lock it up here in the ninth inning, and they are going to turn their attention to this big right-hander, Brad Brock. Now, you have mentioned about draft picks, and it really doesn't matter when you get your opportunity. Brad Brock is a 42nd round pick for the Padres out of Monmouth in New Jersey, and look at these numbers.
And go down to the walks column. Only 4 walks on the year in 33 innings, only 25 hits. I mean, just getting it done. And the great thing about this is here's a kid from Monmouth, 42nd round, probably an afterthought in the draft, and he saved, what, his last 24 out of 25 save opportunities. That's all.
It's amazing. He had 33 saves last year at Fort Wayne. He walked 11, struck out 82. I mean, you think they've got this, got some attention toward this kid now in the Padres organization? Brad Brock, what a story. And he's facing Michael Burgess to start the Carolina ninth inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss.
I mean, those numbers last year were sick. 36 hits in 63 and 2/3 innings. And then he's doing pretty much the same thing this year at a higher level.
There's 50 rounds in the draft.
Yeah.
He was 42nd.
He's almost Mr. Irrelevant, right?
I mean, that's where the farm directors start drafting their nephews.
Well, I'll tell you, the Padres made a good choice here. They're 3 outs away from hoisting the trophy.
The 1-2, a little bit low.
But you got to remember, these are all-stars he's facing here in the ninth.
The 2-2 pitch, got a piece, and Burgess stays alive.
You don't want to make a mistake with Burgess here. We talked about his power. So this pitch, if you're going to throw it, it's got to be down and away or bury a breaking ball. You hang one, Burgess will make you pay here, and you're looking at a tie game.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Came in. This is a pitch that's off the plate. This is a hard pitch, even if he hits it, to even keep in play. Because this is, as you said, deep in the kitchen. You see the catcher moving over. I don't know if that was a spot he was supposed to hit, but there's the closer getting his first out. That's huge.
Now it's John Gilmore.
Well, we saw Gilmore put on a show, the home run derby. He's 1 swing away from tying this thing up.
Singled to right in the 7th and scored the then tying run. 4-3 California in the 9th. Off speed. 0-2.
Nice slider, 82 miles an hour. Ryan Harper, 2 outs away. The last 2 outs are always the hardest.
Emergency swing. No balls, 2 strikes.
Keep you alive. You know, you make those swings right there just to stay alive and hope he makes a mistake with the next pitch. Rocket Wheeler hoping that as well.
Bounce to 3rd. And there's 2 gone in the 9th.
How important is it, you know, with the 4 walks? So what's that telling you? This kid, at the close of the roll, throws strikes, he gets ahead of the hitters, and he gets the hitters to roll over a pitch like you just saw. Two-strike slider. All he could do was reach out and get it and tap it weakly to third base. I mean, this is what a closer does. Those walks to strike to innings pitch, that's Denner's Eckersley type stuff. I mean, Eckersley in his heyday with the A's, he'd walk like 8 guys the whole year.
And he'd get you out in like 2 pitches.
Oh, yeah.
Greg McClatt is the last chance for the Carolina League All-Stars in an opening strike. Brad Brock, 6'6", 210. 24 years old. Fouls this one away by McClatt. And we're down to the last strike potentially.
Well, you know, he would like to get on base. They probably felt he should have gloved that one. It was just off his glove.
Brock delivers. Pitch away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Only 1 blown save this season for Brad Brock. Looking to save it for the California All-Stars here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The count's even. Brock is a New Jersey native out of Freehold. When he was at Monmouth, he set records for wins and strikeouts as a starting pitcher. The 2-2 upstairs and a full count.
This is huge. If he gets on, you never know. McClatt could, they may try to steal him. Runs pretty good.
This one is going to dunk into left field. So McClatt keeps it going in the 9th inning.
McClatt doing his thing. Scrappy little player that he is. That was a tough pitch, 3-2. Look at him fight this pitch off. Inside out, in on his hands. That's a tough pitch to handle with a wood bat. Keeps it alive, and now the potential winning run at the plate.
In the presence of Justin Green. Started in center, has played the whole game. Takes one up and in. 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah, South Carolinian Justin Green. The fans would love to see a walk-off here. From Goose Creek, South Carolina. What's that, a hoop and a holler down the road?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
As we say here.
Yeah. But he did say the Goose Creek when they announced the lineup. Uh-oh.
Chink in the armor here.
Yeah.
After 2 outs and nobody on.
Well, you know, it's an all-star game. You're Justin Green. You're looking on something dead red that you could send everyone home on 1 swing. Oh.
And he was going for it.
He just missed it. Oh, man, that ball was up 2-0, and he tried. Watch him go after this. I want to send everyone home. Oh. Pulled off it just a hair.
Swing, fly ball, center field. Perez is under it. And the California All-Stars have won it 4-3.
Look, he gave it a ride. He gave it a shot. And the kid from Monmouth does it again.
Adds an all-star save to his resume.
How about that? 42nd rounds. And that shows you the great game of baseball in the minor leagues. It's all about getting it done on the field.
Final score, California 4, Carolina 3. Back to wrap it up after this. We started our evening on a bus and ended with a California victory. And Nick, I tell you, that's a heck of a ball game.
It really wasn't. There's no losers. The stars shine, and we saw great talent and a great game.
Our congratulations to the California League All-Stars. They won it 4-3 here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. For Nick Belmonte and our crew, this is Bob Rathman saying so long from South Carolina.